have like the Marvel company card searching for Jordans online. Like that's the best possible day for a costume designer. Like, this costs how much? It's not my money, so I can spend it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, we had a store. We had a little store going. Yep. But you know, the nice thing about buying online is you can return it. You don't have to even face the person. You just send it back.
That's a great tip for all you budding costume designers out there. Just buy it at Target, do the shoot, and then the next day, hey, this didn't fit right. Sorry, thanks.
They don't care.
I think we have time quickly for one more question from each of our panelists. If you guys have anything else in your brain, I know there's so much we want to get to.
Yeah. So when they make the sequel to Black Panther, they should be announcing it tomorrow. We'd love to see. It's going to happen. We'd love to see what have you got planned that you didn't get to do in this movie.
Oh, you know, the first time I saw the movie, I felt like I was under fire. You know, I was like, oh my God, there's that. Oh, I put that in there too. Oh, I forgot. But there were some amazing things that were cut. Mm-hmm. And I was so upset about them. There was a tribal council there was a Ramonda look. I actually, when you see the poster, you'll see Angela Bassett from the side. She has a big, huge piece of amethyst in the middle of a breastplate. And I created that because I wanted that to represent, like, Ramonda, who was the queen of Wakanda, would have also maybe been a Dora at one point. And this is now her queenly armor. She's going to adorn an armor piece. And it got cut. No. So I said, okay, if they ask me, and even if they don't, we're going to put that one in the next one.
Yes, I love that. I wanted to ask you about one final look. Without giving away any spoilers, the Korea scene is one of my favorite moments in the entire film. And you created these like impeccable dresses that they could kick so much butt in. It was really cool, and I wanted to know how do you like, especially the red dress that Denai wore when she's on top of the car. This is in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But she's on top of the car and it's flowing behind her like Superman's cape. It's so epic. How much like structural testing did you get to do to make sure that it was going to give you that cape-like look and that they could fight in it?
That was one of the first designs I done back in September, and I had a special person come in who had worked for the ballet. She had worked 25 years for the Boston Ballet, and she knew the fabric, and she knew how those layers could kind of move. And we worked on that dress for about 3 months. Wow. We tested it on top of the car with a stunt girl. We had a kind of a muslin that was made out of the same fabric. We started with that. Were there enough layers? We needed that. It basically had about 5 layers underneath. I wanted it to really like fly up in the air. You know, I thought visual effects would take it and just like make it totally animated. I had this whole idea in my head. And they had to do very little to it because it really did have the movement and it flowed with her. And it took like a dance costume expert to help me get through that. It was beautiful.
One of the things that I loved about watching the movie is the dichotomy between the decision making that T'Challa is faced with versus his rival Killmonger, and that they bring such a different worldview to the table, and you can see both their perspectives. It's not just this is definitely the good guy and this is the bad guy. There's a lot more interesting layers going on. So as somebody who's costuming each one of these individuals, do you have to approach that from this is how he sees the world versus how he looks at the world? Because T'Challa is not about flair, he's not about showing off, where Killmonger wants to display that a little bit more.
Are you asking me if there's another costume designer?
You know, I'm just spitballing here.
Okay, yeah. Their characters are very different, and actually as actors they're very different, as people they're very different. So my fitting room is a transformation process. So you know, Michael Jordan comes in with his energy and he's like pumped up, and Chadwick Boseman comes into the fitting room with his energy and he's just very, very zen. So you know, they did great casting. It wasn't hard to like bring them into the world, their world. They have have the talent, they have the thought process, they can embody the clothes. It's just we have to meet them there. Michael B. Jordan's fittings were racks and racks and racks of clothes because he represented the Lost Tribe. He represented the African American. So it was important that he be this unapologetic guy that we all see, we all know, who got his shit together and can articulate. But at first glance, you're wondering, who this character is in the museum. The securities around him, the director of the museum comes, "May I help you?" And then he spits out some knowledge. T'Challa, on the other hand, we expect him to be knowledgeable, quiet, kind of quiet warrior. And his clothes had to represent someone who was not a part of a world that was colonized and then enslaved and then moved to another country. He had to embody a person who represented the pureness of Wakanda and keeping everything secure. So his clothes were a lot more elegant, and we tried to come up with ideas that were unique. So all of his stuff was made, as opposed to Michael B. Jordan, and all of his stuff was bought.
In summation, and I cannot tell you how much we all appreciate you lending some of your time so we can ask you these questions here today. I think I'd like to end on this, is that you put the work in and you do a great job, and like you said, you have a singular focus each day as to what you're going to work on, and you just hope it all comes together in an incredible product.